Well, I don't think that we want to look to them as an example of what they're doing right. China and India have relied even more than we do on coal to supply their energy, and coal produces even more carbon dioxide per unit of energy achieved than oil does. So that's not something that we want to follow. In fact, we need to work with China and India to persuade them not to use coal, or if they do use coal, to use environmentally friendly coal burning technologies, which we're not even using sufficiently in this country. So coal is not a route that we want to go, and we don't want them to use that because the planet will really be in jeopardy if they continue to do that. What troubles me about China and India is that they are going on an automobile buying spree. As their rising middle class goes out, and the first thing they want to do is buy a car. Now, it's very hard for us in this country to say, no cars. We can have cars, you can't have cars, because that's going to increase the pressure on world petroleum supplies until we start doing something about our own car addiction. And obviously we're not doing anything about that. So they look at us, they see our TV shows, our Hollywood movies, and they say, cars, that's the good life. That's the American way of life. We want that too. And they're going out and buying cars like crazy. China is becoming the world's #2 auto market after the United States. They're expected to have hundreds of millions of new cars on the road over the next 25 years. This will be a disaster. And that's what's driving their huge increase in demand for petroleum. It's their increase in car ownership. And India is following along. And as they buy cars, they need more petroleum, and because neither China nor India has large domestic reserves of petroleum, they have to go out and get it from the same sources of supply as the United States. And here's where the problem lies, and I've alluded to this earlier. They are, especially China, competing with the United States in this geopolitical struggle for influence in the oil-producing areas, just as the United States is trying to ensure access to supplies in places like China and just as the United States seeks to obtain sources of supply in troubled areas like Africa and the Caspian Sea Basin in Central Asia, so is China. And just as we try to cement our ties with friendly governments in those areas with supplies of arms, China is doing likewise, and they're competing with us. There's an arms competition that goes along with the pursuit of oil. And this is the sort of thing that I would call the new great game, like the great game that led up to World War I, and has me very worried.